We are now joined by civil rights leader and former UN Ambassador Andrew Young. He helped draft the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and called John Lewis a friend. Good morning, Ambassador.
John
Thank
Lewis
you for being with
really
us on this.
John Lewis was
Yes, indeed.
really one of my heroes, even though I'm older than he was.
We all know about John Lewis, the icon, but he was your friend. Tell us about him as your friend.
Well, John Lewis was maybe the quietest member of the civil rights movement. He could laugh and he could joke, but he was very seldom rowdy, loud, or he had no ego at all. He had the power of humility that just won people over to him. He didn't push, he wasn't angry, and he had many reasons to be angry, but he was always dominated by that loving spirit in his life that, well, there was a power in his humility just made people want to follow him. Actually, I came from New York.
Go on, sir.
No, I moved from New York back to Atlanta in 1961 after I saw the Nashville sit-in story on television. And I had been in the South before and pastoring little country churches, but I thought I was out of the South until he came on with the Nashville sit-in story, and we realized that our place was back in Atlanta. And I don't regret.
He got you to come back, in fact, and he said, come home, and your wife was like, I'm coming. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy has been with us since he's passing. Do you think it will be the same with Congressman Lewis's legacy? The generations from now will say and feel the way they do about him?
Well, I think this generation knows John Lewis. And I think that John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, who passed day before yesterday, will be remembered for their tactical work, for their philosophical conversations, but mostly for their nonviolent presence in the face of severe danger and the willingness to march fearlessly through the valleys of the shadow of death and fear.
Did he, in fact, understand his own legacy, Mr. Ambassador? Just how many lives he touched?
I think he did, because he touched almost everybody in the House of Representatives during the 34 years that he served there. And he campaigned for them in their own districts. And he's probably been to every state in the Union campaigning for members of Congress. And that was one of the reasons why he had so much political and moral influence, because they knew that what he said he meant, and that he was willing to live and die by it. So there was a kind of integrity that you don't find often.
There is a documentary that is out now called Good Trouble, and I know that you are a fan, so we will be hearing more about the congressman later on in this show. Mr. Ambassador, we thank you. Andrew Young, our former ambassador to the UN.